Hello and welcome back to the Nine Sports Podcast, the hockey edition. I'm your host, Maya Smith. It feels like forever since we last had an episode. Happy end of 2025, happy 2026. We're halfway through January, which is insane. But if you haven't listened to the podcast we put out right at the end of the year with all of the Nine Sports hosts predicting things in women's sports for 2026, make sure you check that out on the podcast feed. Anyway, new year, same podcast co-host. I'm joined by Alyssa this week. If you've listened to the show before or been around the Ice Garden, you know who she is. So welcome, Alyssa. How's it going?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me. I feel like I must have done a good job in the first episode I was on here with you. So you invited me to be back.
Well, the sample size is only one other co-host, which was Alicia, but I'm always happy to have you on. So
I love that.
Thank you for coming back. And yeah, it's the middle of January. Hockey has been happening. We're getting close to the Olympics, so we have lots to talk about. Today, we're going to be talking about the PWHL Takeover Tour that has been taking over all over the place. And and then the absolutely wild PWHL standings, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Olympics because Team Canada did reveal their roster last week. So first, let's jump into the number one at the 9, which is 60 seconds on the top headline of the week. So the number one at the 9, the PWHL Takeover Tour is in full swing, having already stopped at 6 different cities and been to Halifax twice. We've discussed this before, but the league usually uses these tour stops to determine whether they'll put a new team in these cities as they continue to expand. But as Melissa Burgess's article this week highlighted, called "Are There Too Many Takeover Tour Games?", there may also be some cons to holding this many games. She said, on one hand, the Takeover Tour concept is phenomenal for introducing new cities and people to professional women's hockey. On the other hand, too much of a good thing gets played out very quickly. When Melissa was talking about writing this article, I was 100% on her side because I've also been feeling a little bit like there are too many games going on this Takeover Tour. So, Alyssa, I'm interested in your opinion on this, especially because as a beat reporter who focuses on the Goldeneyes, which is what I do, the schedule that they've had in the last month around these games has been wild. They played their last home game on December 20th, and they don't play in the Pacific Coliseum again until January 22nd. They've played in 3 Takeover Tour games during this time. I kind of feel like this is doing a bit of a disservice to the Vancouver fans. What do you think?
It definitely is. And like, I don't think the players would maybe say this. So like, maybe I am wrong with this, but like from like a performance standpoint and like, you know, the toll it takes on your body, like, I also wonder if it's maybe, you know, hurting the players a little bit too, because again, they're so grateful. Like you get players who get to play in their home states or their home provinces, and like that's a cool moment and stuff. But like, I wonder how it feels as a player to be. It's like the TikTok sound is like bus, another club, another club. Like it just feels like you can't. And like I think we talked about this when we chatted like a month or two ago, like with the expansion teams, like they haven't settled. And like they knew what they were getting into this season, you know, especially like Olympic bound players or like Olympic bubble players, like, you know, like it's going to be a weird season. So I'm sure they're prepared, but like I'm so curious to know how it's been on them too, because like I don't know, like as a fan, like that's a whole other thing. But I can imagine it's been really difficult for players and even staff, and like you're just kind of all over the place and you feel like you haven't really been home. But from a fan perspective, absolutely. Like has Vancouver played 2 or 3 at home?
I think they've played about 4 at home,
off.
4 or 5, but they were all in the like front half.
They were in like the really tight, like I feel like every game at home for Vancouver specifically, like the vibes are great, like it's super fun, but like then it's like, okay, see you in a month, like it's very weird. I would be disappointed if I was like, you know, even if I didn't have season tickets, like I would feel like I would be like, damn. And like obviously happy for those cities that are getting to see those teams and whatnot, but I think it hurts the home fans, and ultimately I think it's kind of hurting the product a little bit. And again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that they're trying out new cities and showing off their league to all these different cities and whatnot that haven't seen these players before. That's not what I'm trying to get at here. However, like I do wonder if it's hurting the product a little bit because again, you're on so many buses, you're on planes, you're in hotel rooms. Like again, I understand it with it, but it's not like you're half your games are in Vancouver and the other half are, in random cities. It's not the same split as it should be and probably will be eventually, but yeah, I think it's just a little much.
Yeah, I agree. And I've noticed because I do get the like weekly schedule emails that the Goldeneyes put out, and they've actually been like traveling back to Vancouver oftentimes in between these games. Yeah, so the miles racked up on those flights have got to be crazy. And I think what you're saying is true. Like it's a double-edged sword. It's really cool to see cities that, especially like cities that don't usually get this kind of thing coming there. It's really, really cool. It's so awesome for like the young girls and the older fans to be able to watch hockey. And I love that they're bringing the PWHL product to all these new fan bases. But I do think, and we're both marketers, we were just talking about this before the show, but like, how do you market your product when you have to tell your fan base that there's going to be a month between games and you can't build up this cadence of like, oh, we go to the rink, every other week. We build this routine of seeing these players, and then you watch them and they're in, Detroit, Quebec City, all these different places all over Canada. And I would imagine the fans are kind of like, wait, when do I get to watch them again?
Yeah, well, no, 100%. And like obviously like you have all those home games still, but yeah, and again, like season tickets too, like you want to see your team on home ice. And yeah, I can't even imagine how that feels because I don't know. I feel like in season 1 there wasn't a whole lot of takeover games, but I felt like the amount that they had like worked. Like it felt like a special event. Like it felt also like there's been so many games this past couple weeks where I've been like, oh, this is a takeover game. Like I'm like, oh, like this is in Halifax again, and like again, sold out crowd, like it's great and all, but like I just feel like there's so many.
Yeah, and I don't like to bring in the men's game when we're talking about the women's game, but there was a point in time where the outdoor games that the NHL hosted happened like once a year. It was huge, New Year's Day, or maybe once like a Canada outdoor game every few years. And it was great. And then all of a sudden they were like, oh, fans like the outdoor games, so we're going to bring in a ton of outdoor games every year. And then fans were like, well, this is just not exciting anymore. It's not special. And that's kind of how I've been feeling as a fan, is like, I'm sure this is like from a fan perspective, from somebody who's watching the games, I'm thinking again, like, last weekend they had two games that were both takeover tour games on the same day, and it just removes that kind of importance of the game and just kind of 100%. Makes it like another day at another rink.
Yeah, that day was that Sunday that had those two. So. That was the Halifax and Quebec City.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, there's in Quebec City too. And like again, like the crowds were great. Like it was all good, but like I think from like a marketing standpoint, like it just is. It's a lot. Like I get I get what they were trying to do, and like I think it's overall like I still feel like they're pulling successes from it and stuff, but. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. But again, it's been great to see places like Halifax selling out the rink, getting like those fans getting a chance to have 100%. Pro women's hockey there. To me, like that is a clear favorite going into this off season to get an expansion team.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think both games being a sellout, also like the one this past weekend, like they had like a structure fire a week before on the outside after working on it, and like obviously it was safe to host the game and everything, but like that didn't hinder any of the like attendance. Like it was packed and tickets sold and stuff, so I definitely think Halifax is up there for sure, 100%.
Also, Quebec City, I need to get to that rink, but I would
Me too.
never want to be the opposing team in that
No.
building. One of the things that I was
No.
saying before the game is that like Vancouver needed to and did not score first and
Yep.
get that crowd out of the game, because the minute
Yep.
that Montreal scored, it's deafening in that building.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, I think if I had to like put like a bet on of like the two Canadian teams, I think it's Halifax and Quebec City. Like Quebec City is such an interesting one too, right? Because like going back like years and years here with the Nordiques, like they did really well, and like I even think of like just like Montreal, like not Montreal, sorry, Quebec, like the sports market in Quebec and as a whole, like they are hungry for more. Like they're hungry
Yeah.
for more, and I think if they can, grasp onto that pretty quickly, like we have two teams in Ontario. Like what's stopping us from,
and the rivalry would be amazing.
Oh my
So, yeah.
It's gonna be nasty. I can't wait.
Yeah. I like it. Okay, well, let's talk about what's happening now with the teams that we have now, the 8 teams. Let's talk about the standings, because this league just surprises me every single day. I'm gonna run through where we're at, where they're at right now. We're recording this on Wednesday, and the Boston Fleet and Toronto Septors just played, but Toronto lost, so the standings stayed the same.
Toronto lost,
Boston,
no way.
Yeah, they lost 2-1. Yeah. The Boston Fleet are in first place with 23 points. Then the Frost and the Victoire are actually tied for second with 19 points. That's because Montreal won yesterday over Ottawa. And then the New York Sirens are in fourth with 18 points. The Ottawa Charge, who just ended a 6-game win streak, are currently in fifth with 17 points. Toronto is in sixth with 15, and the two expansion teams are in seventh and eighth with 12 points, although Seattle has played 2 fewer games than Vancouver. So there's a lot to unpack there. I want to start with the fact that the 3 teams that were the worst teams last year in the regular season, the Ottawa Charge, even though like in the playoffs they weren't, but in the regular season, the Boston Fleet and the New York Sirens are living the dream up in good standing, and Ottawa's had this 6-game win streak. What is going on? What is happening?
Brianne Jenner is, and like I don't think she's ever really fallen off, but like in a way I feel like she's rolled back the clock here. Like she's like, oh, we lost all these players. I don't give a crap. Like I'm Brianne freaking Jenner. Like I'm gonna, do what I do best, and I'm gonna score goals, and I'm gonna be the leader that I am. And they've also had great goaltending too. But I think like they've really built off of their captain. Like they've really just dug in, and they're winning games. Like they're not winning easy games. Like they've been difficult. Like there's like a shootout game over the weekend, and like there's been a few that like they've like just grinded out. And I think that's kind of always been Ottawa Charge hockey, but they've always just lacked a little bit at times. And so far this season, especially over their win streak, like it seems like they've just like really dug deep and like really, believed in who they are, like to their core.
Yeah, and Brianne Jenner has been the player of the week 2 weeks in a row.
She's been unreal.
Yeah,
makes me excited for the Olympics. Like, we'll talk about Canada's roster, but like Hunk still got it. Like we might be old, but I'm not that worried. We'll talk about that in a second. But
no,
she's been unbelievable.
She has, and I've been really impressed with both of the Russian players that they drafted this year. I think there was, I don't know, as players coming over from overseas hockey, often there is this kind of like, will they be able to keep up with this? And we, especially like as North Americans, I think the Swedish elite, like the Swedish league, and sometimes the Swiss league, we get a lot of content from there, but we really don't see a lot from the Russians, and we don't see them at international tournaments. So it was like really like, how are these players going to show up? And they've been really strong.
Yeah, I mean, like I think back to, we haven't seen Russia because of geopolitical like reasons, rightfully so, compete internationally. But like I think back to the last time, like I think they were in the the previous Olympics, if I'm thinking about this correctly. And then like they were in like past Olympics before that too. And like they've always been like obviously like Russian hockey players, like they have a certain type of skill set, but we haven't seen it, right? Like we haven't seen it in so long. And when they got drafted this past like draft, part of me was kind of excited to see, you know, how they would fit in. And just like it's nothing. Like they're hardworking, like they're putting up points, like they're steady, and it also they're mature, right? You look at their age and whatnot, and that makes a lot of sense. But it's like for some people, it's coming at such a surprise because we just haven't seen any really Russian talent. And it seems like they're fitting in really well. I think it was at the start of the season, I saw on their the Charge social, like Artem Zub, who plays for the Ottawa Senators, made like a cute little video, like congratulating them and like welcoming them to the city and stuff. And it seems like they've really, you know, gelled with the type of team that they already had, and they're trying to build on.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had a conversation in the Ice Garden Slack the other day about just players coming over from European leagues in general. Like, we haven't necessarily seen. Michelle Carvinen is somebody who comes to mind immediately. She is a fantastic player, and she has been in Europe and at the international level for years. And she's definitely kind of taking a bit to find her stride. Vancouver's, you know, first overall, or their first choice in the draft, and she just got her first goal over the weekend, and kind of the learning curve that a lot of those players go through. And I've just been really impressed how they fit in with this Charge team. And I think, honestly, kudos to Carla McLeod for this whole season, but also just the way that she connects with international players, with Team Czechia, and then with her own team, with the Charge. It's amazing. And I think she deserves a lot of kudos.
She's so impressive. Like the way you can tell players love playing for her. Like you can tell that they like would literally like do, like, you know, they're gonna get in front of shots, they're gonna you know, play hard in the corner. Like there's so many things they're willing to do, and it's so obvious that they love playing for Carla, which like I would too. Oh my god,
me too. I would love to. And I think that she really loves her team as well. When I talked to her when Ottawa was in Vancouver, even though they lost that game, she just had nothing but good things to say about how they show up and the players that she has on that team. And I'm glad it's like seems to be clicking after a couple seasons. Not clicking, and I feel like I didn't want to bring this up because I feel like a broken record on this podcast, but I do think this is a really like surprising thing. Seattle and Vancouver in the bottom of the standings. And I think when we started this podcast in December, there was a little bit like, you know what, it's fine. They're both expansion teams. They haven't really played together. They'll take some time to gel. I think we've passed that point and we're getting into the danger zone.
I agree.
So what do you think?
I agree. I think we're like, you know, it's like caution at this point. Like it's like we're getting towards the red. Yes, I think where we could like people could really start to panic is if this continues after the Olympic break. I think like that will be a big thing, because like you got to consider too, you know, the Olympic break, like obviously there's a bunch of players in the league who are going to the Olympics and going to Italy, but there's also a bunch of players who won't. So like they're still going to be skating, they're still going to be with their teammates, and they're still going to be working out and stuff. But like you're going to get that mental reset, right? Like you're going to be, I don't have to go to 2 takeover tours this week. Like I can actually like get fully settled in here a little bit more and buckle up for the end here. And I think we saw it last season too, and that was without a big break where teams came back, and it didn't change like on like a 180, but like anything can happen. Like with the way the point system is in this league, like anything can happen. So I think when like I'll press the panic button if it continues, like maybe a week or two after the break, but it is a little concerning. Like I think Vancouver, it's really the Sarah syndrome, I think, has put a big damper into like what they were trying to build. Like I think that, you know, you bring in one of the best players in the world, you know, one of the best like, you know, personalities in women's hockey and hockey as a whole, and she doesn't play after game 1. Like, she hasn't played, and I think the fact that she was named to Canada's roster is good news.
Yeah,
and
she was skating today.
Yeah, she chatted also with the media, I think today too, I saw, or yesterday. I think that's a really good sign. Seattle's a weird one too. Like, I don't know, like, it's weird. Like, I don't even know what word to like put it. Like, and settling thing. It's I don't know.
I don't think you're alone in that either. About like not knowing, because I also don't know. Like, I've been trying to write an article about this for like a week, and I'm just not really sure what the solution is. I think your point about Sarah Nurse is very, very correct. Even Brian Idalski, the coach of the Goldeneyes, said he wasn't even expecting the impact that losing Sarah Nurse would have on the team. And I really think getting her back will be a missing piece of the puzzle. Seattle, I think, is having only played 10 games. I feel like I still don't fully get who they are. I think like they're still building that identity, and maybe those next 2 games that would bring them up about even with the other teams will be that turning point. I've got people in my mentions on social media telling me that Vancouver needs to fire their coach.
Oh, and that's interesting.
That's a little bit drastic.
Yeah, the coach just got there.
Yeah.
We all just got here. Like,
exactly.
I don't know. I think it's such a, when you think of a lot of fans that have watched hockey, probably have watched an 82 game season in the NHL for the most part, and like are used to, a bigger sample size of things. Like, it's been a much different perspective from a hockey fan this season, and in the PWHL as a whole. Like, again, they have a different point system. Like, there's different rules. Like, obviously it's hockey. At the end of the day, it's still hockey, but like it is a bit of a different league, and I think fans just also need to adjust. Like, I don't to call for the coach to be fired already, in my opinion, is also a little bit extreme. And now if they go the rest of the season after the break and nothing gels, absolutely, I think that's a conversation you can have. But I don't think we're in that territory.
No, and it would be unprecedented in this league for that to happen. Like, they have let coaches go after a season or 2 seasons, but in the middle of the season, I mean, I think a season is a reasonable sample size.
100%. And again, it's an expansion team. It's one of the first expansion teams ever. Like, there's so many unknowns, and I also don't blame fans for being like, hey, what the heck? Like, what's the reasoning here? Like, must be coaching. Like, I don't blame them, but I do think that's a little extreme.
It's hard when you're looking at the paper of the roster and you're like, these are the best players. Like, this is the best team on paper. What is going on? The only answer could be coaching, but there are so many outside factors
many things
aren't being talked about.
Exactly. Yeah. I think the travel is a big thing. Like, I truly think the big sample size here of like where we can really like judge is after the break, because like this is just like silly season.
And it's a weird year all around with the Olympics and the Euro Hockey Tour and the rivalry series. Like, there's a lot of moving parts.
I'll be intrigued to see what things look like, after the break, like a couple weeks.
I agree. Sorry, my light just died. Okay, before we get into the final topic, we'll talk about the Olympics. Last episode, a long time ago, it feels like, Alicia's top shelf prediction was that there would be a trade before the end of the 2025 calendar year. I honestly, I think that was a very reasonable prediction. I'm kind of surprised we didn't see anything. I could definitely see something coming post-Olympics. Do you have any thoughts about a trade or potential?
I mean, I could see something before the break. I haven't heard anything. I also haven't really, done any reporting or looking into it, but I definitely could see a move or two here, whether it's one before the break or after the break. I definitely think we're going to see a little bit of movement. I don't know if we're, and I could be completely wrong, but I don't know if we're going to get anything crazy. When I look back at the Low Rock trade and all that, that was a big trade. That was probably one of the biggest trades women's hockey has ever seen. but like I could see, like something happening. Like I don't see why not, especially if a team, is like looking to shake something up a little bit. Who knows? Yeah, I don't think that's a bad prediction to have whatsoever.
I agree. But let's hear what your top shelf prediction is for the next 2 weeks.
Goodness. For the next 2 weeks?
Yeah. About up to the Olympics. I'm gonna record with Lydia right before the Olympics. So
up to the Olympics. I think one of the expansion teams is gonna go like on a little heater, and like mind you, they don't have a whole lot of games before the break, but I think like they'll pick up some steam, either one of them or both. Like I think there's too much. They're too good. The staff is too good. Like the facilities are too good for it to not click soon. And I would say that one of the two or both are going to go on like a little bit of a heater and like are going to go into the break feeling pretty good about themselves.
All right.
And also, which it might not be a big shocker because they haven't been great. I think Toronto gets worse. Like I think they're gonna like continue to. No, I'm so serious. Like I think they're gonna continue to not be able to score, and that's a team to watch out for a trade if that continues to happen because they need goal scoring, man.
Yeah,
they need goal scoring. They miss Hannah Miller. I'm telling you right now, they miss Hannah Miller and they miss Sarah Nurse a lot, which like we knew they would, but like they need goal scoring bad. Like Daryl Watts can only do so much. Like
yeah. Yeah,
like, I love Daryl Watts. Like Daryl Watts has been one of the best players in the league since season 1, but like she can only do so much. Like
no, absolutely. And yeah, Emma Malte scored tonight, and I think she needs more goals sooner.
But even like Malte, like I don't even like see Malte as like a goal scorer. Like Spooner, I would love to see get going here a little bit more, but like I don't know, man. Like they need some help.
And speaking of needing some help, let's talk about the Canadian Olympic roster drop.
I love my old folks. There we go.
Exactly. So last time you and I talked, we talked about the rivalry series. The U.S. swept that series.
Yikes.
And there was some discussion about, is this a warning sign for Team Canada? Will they change things up? And they did not. They opted for experience over youth. And I think the biggest red flag, pun intended, for this is Chloe Primorano was left off the team. She is widely considered to be the next Marie-Philippe Poulin. Would have tied Poulin's record for the youngest player to play for Team Canada at the Olympics. There's only one player under the age of 23, and that's Kaylee Osborne, who likely won't see a game.
Will she play? Like, I love her. Yeah. I think she's an unreal goalie, but will she even play? Like,
unlikely. She's definitely the third goalie. So how are you feeling about Team Canada going into the Olympics?
I feel like I'm in the minority. I'm not that worried.
Great. I'm ready.
I'm not that worried. And the reason I'm not that worried is because I think, as experienced as they are and as like, they could have got a little younger. A lot like the group they did pick is look at that roster. Like it's unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I think not picking Chloe really was a big disappointment. And I think like I love the Katie Tabin pick. I think that's a great pick, and I think it's so well deserved. But like, that was a bit of a shock too. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think they'd actually go full on there and pick her. But I'm so glad they did again. She
deserves
well deserved.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But the Chloe snub was was the big one for me. But overall, I'm really not worried. Like I think, it's smaller ice because
the rink is.
I don't know what's happening and with this. Like, can we, like, and I've heard that like hole in the ice, it wasn't actually that big. But the neutral zone is smaller. Like it is. Like
really
it's
small.
The
nets are weird.
Smaller. But like, so the speed thing could be an issue. However, you're telling me to bet against Marie-Philippe Poulin, possibly healthy Sarah Nurse, like Brianne Jenner, who's playing some of the best hockey of her life right now. Like I find it really hard to bet against a group like this. However, when I look at the USA team, because we're always going to compare, and I see Abby Murphy, freaking globetrotter, in college hockey crazy moves. Like, I am a little nervous in that sense. However, once you get to the Olympics, like, in the game start, like, it could go a different way. But
I totally
I'm like
agree.
seeing all this like panic, and I get it. Like, you know, like Jocelyn the Rock, like I've always loved Joss, but like, you know, she's old in hockey terms. Like, say that she's like 37. But like in hockey terms, especially women's hockey, that is old. But I'm seeing like, especially on like I see on Twitter, like the panic, and I'm like, is it weird I'm not panicking? Should I panic?
I think like one of the things that the management for Team Canada has stressed is that they do not equate the rivalry series to the Olympics in any way. Yeah. Whether that is just saying that to kind of like placate fans, or whether they actually believe that, we don't know. But and we do know that at the Olympics, Team Canada is the team to beat. And there was a year where Canada lost a bunch of games leading up to the Olympics, and they still won gold.
It was 2002?
I think so. Yeah. And I just wouldn't put it past any of these players to not just lock in immediately and use that experience versus some of the younger players that the US and other teams will have. You know, the 100%. Olympics is a whole different ball game.
I also think, like, you know, and Hillary, this is the same for Hillary Knight, but it's been confirmed with Nighter that it's her last Olympics. Ratings on the wall here. Unfortunately, I don't want to fully admit it, but it seems like it's probably going to be Pooh's last too.
Yeah,
she's still the best, one of the best player in the world. She's going to go into this thinking it's probably her last. Like, you're telling me she's not going to leave with like
gold
medal, like, if she's battered and bruised, like, she's not going to care. Like, I think if you're being led by a team led by Marie-Philippe Poulin, like, that's who I'm betting on. Like, and I don't even like, yeah, that's maybe a biased like choice here, but like, I can't.
There is the statistic proof. She has scored the game.
What I will worry about is like once I start to see like, you know, the first couple games or even like the pre-tournament games, like where I'm like looking at like ice time. And if Jocelyn Larocque is upwards of 18, 20 minutes, then I'm going to be a little worried. Don't get me wrong here. I really don't think that's going to happen. Like, I think they took Joss for one, she in limited minutes and in, you know, specific with like line matching, I think she's fine. But like, they also took her because she's Jocelyn Larocque. Like, she's one of those leaders that you want there. Absolutely. And I think if I start to see that she's playing upwards of 18 to 20 minutes, I'm going to worry a bit. But I just don't think it's going to happen.
No. And there is really that culture piece. You're taking all of these players all the way across the world. I heard an interview with her, just like a bench side interview in the Charge game earlier this week. And obviously she's been around for a long time. Like, we know what kind of hockey she plays, but as a leader, I was like really impressed by the way that she talked about her team.
She is one, like, if you get a chance to like, I mean, most hockey post-game scrums, like, they're not the most interesting, but like if you can like listen to like a Jocelyn Larocque like post-game, or even like you said, like a bench, like a rinkside, like one-on-one, like, she's so smart and she's like sees the game so well. Like, yes, she's old, but like, okay.
Yeah. It's just a number.
Okay. That's fine. Old people are great. I think it's so funny in hockey. We're like, she's so old. She's 36.
Yeah. No, literally. Yeah. And she does play great in big games. Like, she was really great for the Charge last year in the playoffs. So
she also wants to win. Like, she is such a competitor. Like, all these players at the Olympics are, especially in Canada and the USA. But like, she was one of my favorite players to watch in the CWHL because she was playing for Markham. She's like throwing her body around like it's like gold medal game. Like, that's a player who I want, you know, Sophie Jakes to learn from, and I want, you know, like, obviously I want Chloe to learn from her too, but like, and that's a big snub, and I don't like that snub, but like, I'm not gonna say no to that. Like, again, she's playing 20 minutes. I'm gonna be calling up Troy and be like, "Hey, brother, what are you doing?"
Yeah, I think that they should just bring 30 players to the Olympics. That's the solution.
I don't get why. But I also don't get why the women get 23 and the men
Yeah,
get 25.
the men get 25. I don't
I
know
don't get
either.
that at all.
think those
Also, I
two
had to adjust.
spots-
We had to adjust our graphics, and like, how dare you? Why are we doing this?
Exactly. Think of the
Silly.
graphic designers.
Gosh,
But-
think of me and my Photoshop files. Gosh.
Next episode, Lydia is going to be joining me. She's previewing the US team for the Ice Garden, and I'm previewing Team Canada. So we'll talk a lot more about the Olympics. That'll be right before they start. So we'll be super hype. And the Ice Garden will have previews for every international team that's going to the Olympics as we get closer to the tournament. But as always, thank you for joining us, Alyssa. Is there anything else you want to add?
The Olympics are so much fun. And like, obviously, if you're an American, you're a Canadian, like, you're going to cheer for your specific team. But if you have the chance to like watch like a Japan versus like Czechia or like Japan versus like Germany, do it. Like, you're gonna learn. Like, they're also like, there's so many players on like Team Japan and Team Germany, and like there's a few other countries that I can't think of right now who have players who were born in 2009. 2009.
Well, and Slovakia, I think, has Lapusanova, who's like the best,
literally just unbelievable
player. Yeah, there's
so
so many amazing stories.
The Olympics approaching, I can't stress enough. Obviously, the big games are the big games, but if you can catch one of those, like, you know, you wouldn't consider a big game, please watch, because you're gonna learn about players that like you didn't know existed, or there's gonna be a PWHL player on a random team. You're gonna like, oh my gosh, this is now one of my favorite players in the league. Do it, and also just have so much fun, because the Olympics only come around for 4 years, and obviously as women's hockey fans, we've been really grateful that we've been able to watch the best players at the Olympics forever since they came into the Olympics in 1998. However, like, now we get to watch PWHL players and like we get to follow them elsewhere. So just enjoy it and have fun. And yeah.
Subscribe
and
to the
don't
Ice
disrespect my old players. Gosh.
Exactly. We're gonna show Jocelyn LaRock a lot of love.
Now still got it. Uncathon is happening in Milan, and you're gonna love it, Team USA.
And on that note, thank you all for listening and supporting the Nine and the Ice Garden. If you want to pledge your support, you can get a paid subscription to either site. Really great timing for the Olympics, because we will have lots of content. But thank you for listening, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.